up, we're going to try and fix an issue that women especially do not like to talk about, and we certainly don't know how to fix it. Female hair loss. The truth is 50% of women experience some form of hair loss. Here to help us understand why it happens to women and what we can do about it is Dr. Doris Day. I have friends, a friend that's very close to me, as a matter of fact, who struggles with this. And for women, when you're talking about hair loss, I mean, we all know that men are obsessed with it. Heads up, guys, it doesn't matter if you're bald or you have lots of hair. Just own it. The stick-on stuff is not the solution. But no matter how obsessed men are with this, I think for women it can be even more traumatic and dramatic to them because they associate long, voluptuous hair with their femininity, Women get really frightened if they start to suffer hair loss.
You're absolutely right. And when you have beautiful flowing hair, you actually feel sexy. It's the first thing people say and see about you, and it can take years off your looks if you have the right style, the right color, and lots of hair. But for so many women, really as many as men, nearly 40 million women suffer from hair loss. And sometimes it's their worst kept secret. They don't tell their best friends, they won't go on dates or job interviews, or they'll do things where they can't take their hair off when they go out, so they almost feel like imposters or not like a real version of themselves, and it can become all-consuming. I have women who come in with bags of hair to show me how much hair is falling out every day, and they obsess over all the underlying causes, most of which really will have nothing to do with it. But there's so much that we know, and I'm here to tell you that you're not alone if you're going through this, and there is so much to be hopeful about.
And another young lady I know just came to mind, very young, in her early 20s. She went through an episode, whether it was some sort of autoimmune thing or some sort of genetic predisposition. She went through a massive hair loss, and then it grew back. I mean, so there's a lot of different reasons. Walk us through the types of hair loss that women can suffer from.
So the most common thing we see is really not a true hair loss. It's a hair shedding. And the medical name for this is called telogen effluvium. And telogen is one of the growth phases of the hair cycle. It's one of the phases it goes through. So what happens is the hair...
Here we're looking at a picture.
So you can see the widening of the part, but it's really an overall whole pattern of all of a sudden hair is coming out everywhere. So when a patient comes in with that, I always ask them what happened 3 or 4 months ago, because there's a lag. The hair will go from the growth phase to the resting phase, and then it'll fall out. But it does it too synchronously, and so all of a sudden it starts to shed. And it takes a few months for that to happen. So if you have a major physiologic or emotional stress, like a childbirth, a death, a cancer treatment, a big breakup, a job change, all those things, a few months later, you'll notice hair shedding. But that hair grows back. Now the problem is that if you're prone to hair loss, it may not completely grow back, and it may not grow back exactly the same. So it's not about not having stress. I mean, look, you can sit in a dark room and have no emotions. You'd live longer, look better. There's no point to that, right?
Right.
So it's really about using that as a learning moment of how to handle your stress better to help the hair grow back and also to minimize further hair loss.
Okay, so then let's move on to another type.
So the next type that's very common is called androgenetic. And this is a genetic pattern of hair loss. I'll have patients who come in, they'll say, well, nobody else in my family has hair loss. Well, it's still in your genes, but it shows up in you. We start to see it as a widening of the part line, and then it can become diffuse over the whole scalp. And this can start as early as in your 20s.
Wow.
And then when you have stress shedding on top of it, because you're worried about it, then you just make it faster.
You're aggravating it.
Right.
So no matter what you're suffering from, the stress is a bad factor. It's
Exactly. And that tends to be more hormonal.
Yeah.
So then we can balance that out. And then another type is an autoimmune pattern, where we tend to see round patches of hair loss. This is called alopecia areata. And if you see your dermatologist early, we can inject this with cortisone just into the spot locally. It's really a very simple technique, and that can help the hair grow back because we turn off the inflammatory, all those cells attacking the hair follicles, and we can help them grow back.
That's what autoimmune is your body attacking itself in one way or another.
Exactly. And so we want to turn that off, and we can do it with local injections without giving you systemic cortisone, just doing it local.
So There are several products out there. We all see them in the drugstores. We've all heard the ads on television, like Rogaine.
Right.
Propecia is a very popular prescription drug. Do men and women use the same products to battle hair loss?
The answer
and are they
is
different formulations?
Exactly. So it's yes and no. Men's hair loss is different. It's a different pattern of hair loss. It happens at different ages, and it follows a different course. So we have to address it differently. I wish Propecia worked for women, but the data is just not there. It's not reliable or great, and the side effects are different for women. So I don't use Propecia for women, but it is great for men. Then there are supplements that you can take. So I tend to be holistic where I can. Sometimes we balance women out hormonally, but there are things like Viviscal. And Viviscal is available at your drugstore, and I'm a big drugstore girl too, when I can be. And this contains a fish protein, it's not a fish oil, it's a fish protein, and also silica and vitamin C.
This I've read a ton
clinical
about.
data.
Celebrities use this, and you read about it in ads and beauty columns. And,
Exactly.
And
And it
now
has a
can
cult following.
men use that as well?
Yes, this is for women and for men. They're actually coming out with a version specifically for men, but both women and men can take this. Now, there is so much hype. We have a very vulnerable audience when we have people with hair loss, and they will do anything, and they get sold sometimes such nonsense. So I'm always looking for clinical data and science behind the products and the treatments that I recommend. So Viviscal is great that way, and I'm very satisfied with the data and with the difference I see in my patients. Then there's also hair products you should use, because the other thing about the hair for everybody is that your hair ages just like your skin ages.
Sure,
So
the texture of it changes over the years.
the density, the volume, each hair and the total number of hairs, just naturally over time. You look at a child, a teenager, 20s, 30s, 40s, you see changes in the hair that occurs naturally. So I'm always looking for products that will support healthy hair aging and rejuvenate the hair the way I'd like to rejuvenate the skin. So I look for ingredients like resveratrol and vitamins A, B, and other very
Literally
key ingredients.
what you would look for in skin
bioflavonoids.
creams.
Exactly, but designed and tested for the hair.
For your hair.
So the Julian Farrell Restore line really takes that to a whole new level, where even after just one use, your hair looks more vibrant and radiant, and it's really quite powerful. And again, it's very readily accessible.
I love that these are all easily easy access. You can find them in the drugstores, and they're holistic where you can.
Exactly. And then the vitamins that you do for the hair, it helps to take them by mouth sometimes as well, and to have a healthy, balanced diet. I am really big on the inside out. So for me, foods are so important. And looking for high antioxidant foods, ones that are high in vitamins A, vitamins B, vitamin C.
For everything, not just fighting hair loss, but for
Exactly.
fighting disease.
Right, because it reflects your inner health. When you are healthy, there's no shortcuts in the skin. I always tell my patients, I already know everything. Your skin is telling me. I can see in your skin and in your hair how much stress you have. I can tell how much sun you've had over time. The skin really gives away all those clues. And if you want your skin to look its best, and your hair, you have to take care of it from the inside in the foods you eat, how you manage your stress and diet. It makes all the difference. That's why I love so much of what I see that you do, because it is healthy and it's fun.
It makes a difference in the quality of life. It really does.
Yeah.
So we wanted to help out a woman who's been struggling with hair loss for years. Her name is Maureen. We set you guys up together, right? And we've been following you for what, about 6 weeks?
Right, which is early. 6 weeks is exactly when we start to see the difference.
But see, that's even surprising to me that you can make progress, like visible progress, in as little as 6 weeks.
Exactly.
Because if you've struggled with something that you're self-conscious about and it's been years, 6 weeks goes like that.
That's true. And there's that hope, because for women to feel like there's nothing to do, and now to have treatments, we put her on a whole program where she came in, I did an evaluation, I did some injections in the office, we have a laser hair cap that she's been using, and we've been doing the products as well. And I am so excited for you to meet her.
I can't wait. We're gonna first see the tape, and then we're going to see her in person a little later in the show, but let's watch.
I've had thin hair my entire life. In the past year or 2 years, it's gotten to the point where it's coming out. I'm seeing my hairline recede a little bit, and it's getting harder and harder to style. I've tried every product that's out there, and it still seems like there hasn't been much progress. It slowly but surely continues to fall out. I need some help with my very thin hair. Today I'm here to see Dr. Doris Day, see what new treatment options she has to offer for me, and see if I can get my hair to be fuller, thicker with her help.
you definitely have some thinning. I can see some areas where we could do some work, but at the same time, you don't really have a pattern that says you're going to go bald.
All right, great.
What I want to do for you today is start with some gentle, very low concentration cortisone injections. The injections will help in ways that we don't fully understand, but my experience has been that when we do it for the pattern that you have, it works.
Not
Is
bad.
that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
So we will do the injections at 1 month intervals for 4 months, and then once every 4 months or so, we'll see. There's a couple of things I'm going to show you. The first is Rogaine for women. You just put it into the scalp in the areas where you see the problem. The next thing I will recommend are some natural supplements. The last thing is a laser hair product. You wear it like a hat, 20 minutes every other day. And what I love about it is that it has the highest coverage of the scalp and it stimulates the follicle to grow. I'm trying to approach it from every single angle to give you the best results.
I'm excited about the regimen Dr. Day gave me. I think if I see results, I'll be happy to keep it up for the rest of my life. I'm a little nervous, but what do I have to lose? Except my hair.
Every other day for the Capillus cap, for the laser treatment. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and wear it for the next 20 minutes. Afterwards, I want to do my Rogaine treatment, the first one of the day. Really hoping that I have a lot of new hair growth when I see Dr. Day. I think all's been going pretty well. Somebody actually told me today my hair looked fuller and thicker, which was great to hear. I'm starting to see just a teeny bit of hair growth, especially in here. That's where I see the best, obviously.
So I cannot wait to see Maureen at the end of the show. She's here with us today and see what 6 weeks, has brought for her in her story. I'm so hopeful, and you're beaming, so I think it's going to be good.
I'm very happy.
Okay, and by the way, we're going to put up all the information, all the things you're seeing in this show. Of course, it is our fiction show. It doesn't do you any good if you can't remember it all. So we'll have all the info up on our site, and Dr. Day will be back at the end of the show. The lovely Dr. Doris Day. Dr. Day has been treating our viewer, Maureen. Maureen has been under treatment for about 6 weeks. Yes. But she has been suffering for years from what a lot of women are afraid to even talk about. She's so brave to share that she's been battling some hair loss. And it's really been a burden to her in a lot of ways. Very worried about it.
As it is for so many women, but she really was so brave and kind to participate in this and to show that one is that she is not alone. This is an incredibly common problem.
As I said, close friends of mine suffer from hair loss as well. And my husband himself takes, Rogaine and the Viviscal and all that. So it's very common for men to want to do preventative.
And more acceptable.
That's right. But for women, it really is. We think that there's a stigma attached to it or something.
There is. And we don't have the options men do. We can't go gray. We can't lose our hair. We have to have this facade, this front, and there is so much we can do.
So we saw a little bit of that, cortisone shots, the laser treatment cap, amazing.
Yes.
Let's see Maureen before. And now let's bring Maureen out and talk to her. She's been under treatment for 6 weeks now. Come on out, Maureen. And thank you for doing this. So many of my close friends in my life have questions about this, and we just think it's terrific that you're brave enough to come out here and talk about it with us.
Well, thank you.
So, wow, look at the before and after. There seems like a very substantive difference there.
Absolutely. And she's just beginning.
So, Maureen, what do you think?
Well, I have had the best experience. I'm so encouraged. I've been getting compliments. It's been easy. I take my Viviscal like I'm brushing my teeth. It's twice a day. All the treatments have been easy, and I'm really hopeful because it's feeling better. My hair feels better. My kids keep telling me, stop touching your hair, Mom, because it feels better. Yeah. And I'm really hopeful that it will continue to grow and feel better.
That shot of your scalp, it really seems like it's thicker and that you're getting some new growth there. So is this typical, her response?
I'm very happy to report that it is more typical than people realize, and there is so much you can do. It's important to know what you're dealing with, what your options are, and to be realistic in your expectations. But seeing hair growth at 6 weeks is exactly when I expect to see it begin, and she's only just beginning to see how great her results will be.
It's so exciting, and it seems like they're coming up with new products all the time. I did want to ask you, because you mentioned this to me during a break earlier, when it comes to something that everybody uses these days, Rogaine, women's formula and men's is different. Is that correct?
Correct. The men's formula is 5%, but some of it is absorbed systemically, and that can grow hair in other parts of the body in women. So I tell my women patients to start at 2%, which is the women's strength, and after 6 to 8 months, they can up it to the men's strength if they're not seeing enough results. And there's a powder called Topic Powder, and there's other options as well. This is a hair expander. It goes from shampoo to shampoo, and it is life-changing because it makes you look like you have more hair right away. So a couple of things you can do is you can move your part line over because your part sits flat. So when you move your part line over a little bit, your hair will stand up more.
And you change the direction of it so it looks thicker.
Exactly. Powders like Topic, follicle booster sprays can be helpful. And then make another part of your face pop. You know, do a little extra with your lashes or your lips or your bronzer so that the eye goes to a different part. And
switch the focus.
Exactly. You have to have your own internal energy towards something more positive, and that's what other people will see.
You know,
until we get your hair to grow.
You know what's hopeful is that there are so many practical solutions and what seems to be somebody who's well on our way to a more permanent solution.
Exactly.
All of the information from all of our fixes on today's show will be up on our website. Thank you so much for listening to Dr. Day. We'll see you when we see everybody. Bye.